Eric Keller here, Enthusiast Auto Group. Today we're in EAG's super secret warehouse number 1 and we're with a very special E39 M5. I brought it down here because it's a pretty special car that needs a little special attention. It's always had a lot of special attention. It has 3,500 miles on it. It's been cared for by just one owner. It is carbon black on black. It is not the carbon black M5 on Silverstone that you may have seen sell recently for $200,000. It is priced the same and is in every bit the same condition. Don't ask me how we can find two carbon black M5s, both with 3,000 miles, all within the same quarter. Don't have an explanation other than those enthusiasts that care about these cars like we do, reaching out and wanting to keep them in great and loving homes. So we're going to take a lap around this car. We'll talk maybe, I guess, a bit about some of these cool cars in the warehouse, and mainly focus though on this 3,000 mile Canadian spec, very similar to a European spec example that certainly deserves a very loving enthusiast to be that second owner for that next chapter of ownership. If you've not already subscribed to EAG's YouTube channel, that might be a good idea. These first looks like this 2003 M5 is, well, a good opportunity to stay in front of the curve. This is the lowest mileage surviving 2003 M5 in this hemisphere. It's a one owner. It has 738 original miles. It's all stock and original in every conceivable way. The Mola red two-tone interior with the Titan trim is, well, something to behold. It is a remarkable car. I've got a really cool idea for a video, but if you've got a better idea for a video, drop us a note in the comments, because we haven't shot it yet, and this has definitely been a fun way to introduce and share our passion and love for these very exceptional and in this case historical cars with our fellow enthusiasts. So do stay tuned and subscribe for more. As we dive in for a closer look, this Carbon Schwarz M5 has very few flaws. I suppose maybe we should just go right to those and point them out immediately for you. The biggest flaw in the entire car, I believe, is on this wheel. Can you see it? No? Okay, I'll help you. There it is. That's the biggest mark I've found on the entire car. You'll notice it's still wearing its original tires, and of course they are only original once. And cataloging and you know, putting these cars through the photography and well, in this case, marketing program with this video in its original arrival condition, it's certainly important to have that time stamp on what the car is and was at that moment in time. I'm sure flashing back or forward that this video will be watched by the third and fourth and fifth owner as this car's storyline is continued to be told now that it is a part of the EAG revolving car collection. The tires, of course, will be updated with a pair of Michelin Pilot PS4s, and it'll have all of the rejuve updates that every single one of these cars in this warehouse and the other warehouse and the other one after that and workshops will receive part of that program to set that next owner up for success, a full baseline reset. If BMW sold their cars secondhand, new for a second time, they're analog all-stars, well, and being able to drive and understand what these cars were in period, and my gosh, this car is just, well, it's an E39 M5, and I don't care if it's got 250,000 miles on it. It's a fantastic car. These are really the last analog all-stars. You can hear it in how the door opens. I mean, you can certainly hear it how the door shuts. And it's just you know, it's a timepiece. And it's becoming more and more a collectible, more so than ever before. The market is certainly changing, and those that are wanting these cars, I love these stories that are coming out. Just this morning I read an email. My best friend's dad had a silver E39 M5, and my gosh, did I want that car, and I'm reaching out because I want to talk to you about that one. 5,799 kilometers shown. Yeah, and that's, you know, those stories are just awesome. I mean, I love hearing them because I have a lot of those too, and that's why Evan and I and the EAG pit crew, we do this. And we just recently came back from South Carolina, having attended the BMW CCA MX1 event, and we drove a different Canadian spec carbon black M5 down there. And I can tell you that our EAG pit crew quality control scrutineer, Mr. Johnny, he had a blast driving that car, super comfortably, of course, and it was a pretty smooth and uneventful drive, yet one that he could just about dust the doors off anybody that came up next to him, other than say that GTS. He certainly had me in the Sport Evo. The car is, listen, that's like the 5th time this thing's probably been opened, or 3rd. I mean, it was stiff. People ask, why aren't all the tools there? I mean, do they take them out? No, it doesn't have a spare. It wasn't a European spec, so this was a one-size-fits-all. So the warning triangle and the breaker bar and things required for said spare won't be in there. The Canadian spec, though, doesn't have the golf club assistant marker in there. At least this one doesn't. That's an interesting fun fact I'm just seeing here for the first time as I'm improvising this video, as I pretty much do all of them. I don't want to flash the personal information from the original owner, but we do have some nice service history and all the original documentation, the front license plate bracket that's never been installed on the virgin front bumper of this E39. And well, you've seen the most graphic of the imperfections on the car. We have paint corrected this car. You may have seen it in several of the other teaser videos as it's going through the EAG Rejuve program and the workshop of the paint correction and photo studio. A couple real small baby stone chips, and these lights certainly will help point them out really graphically. That's actually raindrops from moving the car. There's a stone chip right there. That's, again, some of the worst marks on the car. It is honest, it is not brand new, but it certainly is as nice as they come. We're now inside EAG's workshop number 1, and this 3,000 mile E39 M5 really could not be more spectacular. It is original in every way. Cosmoline just laden everywhere from its original shipping process, which is an anti-rust inhibitor that is sprayed liberally by hand. That's what this yellow stuff is here, and it gives us an indication of what's been moved or adjusted, if anything, throughout the years. Obviously, they're spraying in an upward direction, hence why there's not any on the tops of the adjusters there. It is just a reference car of what these looked like some 20 years ago when they were factory new, and that's exactly where we find ourselves here with this M5. We have completed the inspection. Of course, we're going to be outfitting the car with new Michelin tires, as well as every fluid, every filter, and a host of just small update items to ensure this is ready to go for the next enthusiast owner and turnkey in every conceivable way. I am super happy with the mechanical integrity of the car. The car has been fully inspected, and it's always certainly been stored properly because all of the components in plastic and rubber are in really great, healthy, and still spongy condition. And do the rubber hoses wear out? I mean, that's a very common question we get with really low mileage cars like, this lightweight that has 47 miles. And what else is really low mileage in here? The Z1 has 12,000 kilometers. The Z3 has 1,000 miles on it. The Greenwich Concord winning E30 over there, 24,000 miles. This Euro spec 323, 32,000 kilometers original owner spec. The EAG M1 has 32,000 kilometers, I think, and a whole bunch of miles on the Sport Evo. But the point being, 100 miles on the 1M back there, 13,000 miles on the Sport Evo. We see a lot of really low mileage stuff, and if it's kept in a climate that's really safe and doesn't have huge swings both in temperature and humidity, the rubber still will be pliable, and this rubber technology is of an era that it doesn't necessarily dry out when it's not subjected to hot hots and cold colds and a variation throughout that 24-hour time period. And so we don't have a lot of failures relative to that. Electrical systems, that's a whole different story, especially on some of the older cars in the 90s. Think 850 CSIs or E36s. You got to keep power on those cars. E36 maybe not as much as the CSI for sure, but same rudimentary architecture relative to the technology of the time. So if you don't use it, you lose it. There's certainly a big value add in going through a baseline reset like the EAG Reju program. And gosh, we are so heavily booked. It's a great problem to have, and certainly looking forward to booking out those next clients that want to go through and benefit from those services. Your patients certainly will be rewarded with quality, but do plan well and ahead to have that conversation and time slot. Folding rear seats, this is interesting. It does have the rear sunshades as an extended leather car with the heritage leather seats as we would see, but it's a vinyl dash, which would be a leather dash in all the US spec cars. So, it's kind of the best of all the worlds, because this dash will certainly age a whole lot better than the leather dashes of the extended leather cars. This leather is softer. It's got a you can see me pinching it here a bit. I mean, it is a finer grade leather. It's softer. It doesn't sit any different. This foam piece, these are the same that are in the sport leather, such as the Dynan Stage 2 that you see here, just kind of hanging out, waiting for some attention in the background. And this sport leather is, while a thicker grade leather, as you can tell, these are improv videos, I can't quite pinch it as much. It is a harder leather. But again, these shapes of the foam pieces are the same. Had it be a extended leather, though, it would be having the leather dash. But the point I was getting at, I got a little distracted there. The rear sunshades were not available on cars with our heritage leather package seats. So being a Canadian spec, you do get a little bit of a different build group than what the US cars would have, including the cloth headliner as opposed to the Alcantara. There is a benefit to that because it doesn't color fade as often as the Alcantara will relative to age and UV exposure. Outside of that, not a whole lot of other changes. We do have those side airbags that, as you can see here with the stickers, are not quite operational. It's a plug-in and an activation. Liability-wise, certainly noted there. That was one of the big things with the O1s. Moving into the O2, where it was kind of a variable option, became standard in the O3s. We can look at the gas door for rust and things, but come on, the car's new. It's not going to have any of that stuff, but you always got to check, trust, but verify, and that's what comes with an EAG car. I think that's a good clean one lap around the M5. The Imola M5 with 738 miles is coming soon. Have not yet scripted that video. Frankly, not scripting many of these, just sharing them with you ad hoc because it's just more fun. Do reach out if you have any interest in adding one of these to your stable. A lot more really cool cars coming, a lot of other great E39s in the pipeline that are not yet listed to market. So I would say that half of our stuff these days is selling without ever hitting the website. So do reach out if you've not yet. Let's build that relationship and start a conversation so that we can keep these great cars and great homes as we've committed and promised those previous owners, just like the original owner of this Carbon M5. It's a fantastic car that deserves a really loving enthusiast that, frankly, we're going to do what we said we're going to do and keep it in that home. Sell it by interview to a small degree. We want to make sure it stays in the right path and circle, and when they're done, after we support them throughout their ownership, give them a market correct offer that they can't say no to. That's EAG's business model, and half of these cars, including the ones that are in our private collection, are cars we've owned previously and sold and said, let's see, sparkling graphite metallic, that's what it is. That one of one M3 competition slick top 6-speed that's, didn't even know how crazy rare it was when we sold it the first time, but we sold it to a friend and sold it to a great guy that said, we take great care of that car. And when you're done, I'm done. I'm going to sell it back to you guys. And he did. And here it lies a decade later. So Enthusiast Auto Group, the name of this company was not poorly chosen. Probably one of the best business decisions I've ever made, and certainly glad to bring everybody else in the EAG pit crew along for the ride. This has been a great way to turn our hobby and addiction at this point into our career, and glad to share it with you. So if you have a great car that you want to keep in a great home, you know what to do. Reach out to us. If that M5 or that Sport Evo or any of the cars that you see you think that would be a great addition to your stable, reach out. We'd love to have that conversation, and we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe for more. Hit that like button if you're enjoying these videos, and see ya.